I'm going to show you guys just really quickly how to take a data set and use Google Sheets to create a simple chart. Now this is going to be similar to maybe a chart you would use if you're doing your BT corn experiment, obviously with completely made up data on a different topic, but you get the idea. I have 4 different specimens, right? I'm looking at 4 different types of animals. I have 3 different trials for each one and then an average. So you may see some analog to what you're doing with BT corn. You need to start with a data table, obviously. If you have your data table in a Google Doc, you can just copy it over into a Google spreadsheet. And once you have that, you're going to take all the data in your spreadsheet and highlight it, and then you click on this icon, which is Insert Chart, or you can go to Insert and you can do Chart, either way. And what it's going to do is it's going to read that data, and it's pretty smart. It's going to figure out what it thinks you're trying to show. Now in this case, I'm showing a comparison between 4 different groups. I'm not showing one group and its change over time. I'm showing a comparison. So an appropriate type of graph for this data set would be a bar graph. In this situation, I have 3 different trials and an average. So for each specimen, there's going to be 3 different trials represented, and then the average, as you can see. So I'm going to go along with what the recommended type of graph is here, and then I can go over to customization, and what it's going to allow me to do is do a little bit of changing. Now, I have the title here is not going to be descriptive. When you do a title, you want to make sure that you're describing what's on the x-axis over what's on the y-axis, and do it in a descriptive way. So I'm going to get rid of what they've put in here, and I'm going to move this. I'm going to go back over to here to my title that I used on my data table, and I'm going to copy it and paste it in here. Now notice that if I click off of it, it'll throw it in there. When you do a title on a graph, it should be in a title format where all of the major words are capitalized like this. Okay, now to change some things, legend is going to default to go to the right. That's fine. You can change font. You can change the background color if you want. Let's try to keep it relatively, simple. I don't think you need to worry about any of the features here, although you can reverse it so you can have the greatest data first and go into the smallest data. It's up to you. All right, on the axis, on the horizontal axis, it has read the data from my first column, which is generally the way it works, and it's put that in there. Type of animal would be appropriate. To change, no, you'll see that there's no axis on the y, or no label on the y-axis. To change that, so I have a label, I'm going to drop down this arrow and go to left vertical, and I'm going to type in. And what this is time in minutes, right? Because this is looking at the length of time 4 different animals can hold their breath underwater. So I'm going to put time, which is capitalized, parentheses, minutes, which is the unit that we're using. And when I click off of that, it'll throw it in there for me. I can do grid lines if I want to. So obviously you can see that the major grid lines are, or the major divisions are in 15-minute increments. I can adjust that if I want. I can goof around with number formatting. I think it's all pretty much fine the way it is. Don't really need to mess around with too much with this. This is a pretty simple graph. Once you're done with that, you can hit Insert, and it's going to throw it into your spreadsheet. You can move it around like this. And then the nice thing is, because this is a Google element, once it's selected like this, I can do this drop-down arrow, and then if I need to change anything, I can go back to Advanced Edit, and I can edit any of the features that I need to on it. Or I can copy that chart and then go back over to my Google document or to a Google Slides presentation and paste it in. Okay, so this is going to be only obviously one graph. When you're doing your BT corn experiment, you may have more than one graph, but this is one of them. So that's a quick run through on how to do Google Spreadsheet.